Hello, hello. We're talking potatoes. We're talking potatoes. There's such a charm in growing your own food. When you can get something that looks like this, it feels like a small miracle. Like it just, to be able to put a piece of a potato in the ground and end up with potatoes that you can eat off of for months, it's enchanting. One day, you're gonna go to your potatoes and you're gonna find this creature. You're gonna find a whole lot of creatures growing. Now you can still eat these. These are fine. The only thing you don't wanna eat is a potato that's gone green. You do not eat a green potato. That potato has not had enough dirt or mulch covering it to keep it safe. I can't remember the term, what it is about the green. Don't eat it. However, if this potato is still fine, all you do is, let's find one that I'll use. All you do is knock these off. I tend to put them in a bowl of water and then just kind of scrape off all the little shoots, little eyes, they call them. And then I just let them sit in that water and I clean them off because they're still a little dirty. And then I use those. Now the other thing is that here are my seed potatoes. This is what I will use to grow potatoes this year. Probably will start a batch in March. So I'm just gonna need to keep these so they don't go bad. I'm going to find a really cool, dark place. I'm gonna try to keep these in a single layer. I have some bags, so if you've ever ordered like, oh gosh, mine are from like Lily's. I think mine came from like a foxtail lily or something, those mesh bags. You also get, sometimes you get citrus in those mesh bags. I have some lemons in a mesh bag right now. I'm calling them mesh, I don't know what they actually are. But those are great because then they can breathe and the potato can keep growing in that bag. So lay them down, single layer, put them somewhere cool, dark. You could even put them in a drawer in a cool room. I actually have them in drawers right now. So this is happening a little sooner than I would have liked, but that was partly my fault for not keeping them cool and dark enough. This is basically what you're gonna plant. So I could cut this right here and I could plant that piece. And if there were any other eyes, like I could make another potato piece from that, and I could make another potato piece down there. So what I decided to do was separate into piles, like which ones really seemed like they were getting soft and they were perfect seed potatoes, and which ones I felt like I could still use. So I got a lot of potatoes that we can still use. Two things I'm gonna do with them. One is I'm just gonna cook up a huge batch, roast them. The way I do that is I cut them into very thin little half moons or even quarter moons and put them in a really hot cast iron pan with some oil, salt and pepper. I give them a quick saute. I usually add a little bit of water then and let them do a little bit of a steam. And then maybe a little bit more olive oil if I think they need to be coated a little bit more. And then I throw them into the oven, 375, 20, 30 minutes. Add some more salt and pepper. And then I've got a really good potato. It's nice and soft. It's a little bit crispy. It's just a perfect potato. I'm also gonna do freezer potatoes. So I am just, that's another project I got going on. Slice these up again. Cut these potatoes up. And then cover them in olive oil. Put them in a freezer bag. Label the freezer bag and store them in the freezer. It's that simple with your potatoes. And you could cut these into any shape you wanted and be able to do the same method. You could put some salt and pepper on them if you want. Now last year I ordered seed potatoes, and a seed potato is something that comes from a seed company where they have certified that it does not carry any disease on it. So you are able to safely and securely plant that potato in your yard. A lot of my potatoes were that. I also planted two other kinds of potatoes. One was a package of potatoes from Trader Joe's, tiny little yellow potatoes. Grew those in bags, so you know there was no risk in my garden. Beautiful potatoes. Planted them really late, harvested them in November. That was a total success. And then I have a bunch of those that I'm going to be using as seed potatoes. The other thing I did was at our farmer's market, there is a farm in Northeast Kingdom, Vermont that the farmers are friends with, and they get some of their, I don't know what all they get, but I know they get their potatoes, and they are some of the most delicious potatoes I've ever tasted, and they're big, beautiful potatoes. Now, before I realized you could just use any potato, I did not save my own, potatoes, did not use organic potatoes. I was buying these very expensive seed potatoes. And again, if you want to be assured that you are not putting any disease into your ground, that is why you get a seed potato. Don't listen to me. If you're willing to take a little risk and you don't want to spend as much money and you believe that your food should come from your food, here's what I did. I made mashed potatoes and I peeled those potatoes, threw them in the compost, and at some point in the spring, the potatoes were growing. There were potato plants coming out of the compost. So I dug it up. It was just from the skin of one of these beautiful potatoes. I got 2 of them. I planted them in the garden along with my other seed potatoes, and those were our absolute best potatoes. We've already eaten them all because they were so delicious. They were huge and yummy. So this year I plan to go back and get another bag of those potatoes. Hopefully they have them and I'm not too late. And I will be using those as seed potatoes as well. This is up to you. You've got to decide, are you willing to do this? You could also do this in grow bags. You don't have to put this in the ground. And many people don't have space in the earth to be planting potatoes anyway. Grow bags are a fabulous, fabulous option. So that's what I'm gonna do this year. I'm gonna do a combination of these seed potatoes that I have and then a bag of potatoes from the farmer's market. I probably will only use 3 or 4 of those. We'll eat all the rest. Just planning accordingly. So you can look at your zone and figure out when you can safely plant potatoes. If you want to get a head start on the potatoes, which I'm gonna do, and not put them in the ground yet because you're still got freezing temperatures, I'm going to start sometime in March some potatoes in grow bags, and they move really nicely. So if there's like a huge threat of a frost, I'll be able to just move those into the garage for the night and then move them back out. So that's just one thing I'm gonna play with. I haven't done that before, but I planted my potatoes so late last season that I really wanna see what it's like to plant a nice early potato. So this obviously happened all on its own. I did not do any work for this. Ready to grow potatoes, or I know I'm gonna grow potatoes in a couple of weeks that I'm ready to plant them. Then I am going to do this on purpose. So I'm gonna take a potato that does not look like that, and I'm going to purposefully chit them. It's called chitting your potato. What I do is I set them in an egg carton. I don't have one right now to show you, but I just take my egg carton, the bottom of it, and I place a potato just like you would the eggs. I put those potatoes in, I put them on a windowsill, and soon they will start to do this. You may only get little bits like that, and that's absolutely fine. You're just giving the potato a head start on growing when you put it in the ground. Now, this is not like a planting video because it's not time to plant the potato, but I just wanted you to start to think about how are you gonna plant potatoes? Are you gonna use grow bags? Do you have a space in the earth? And are you going to be ordering seed potatoes, or are you going to chit your own potatoes? Are you gonna buy organic potatoes? Are you going to go to a farmer's market and see what's available? So now's the time to start to think about that. I did not think about that early enough. I didn't eat potatoes for a really long time, but then once we had them, we had all of them. So I'm hoping to space things a little bit better this year so that we have different succession plantings of potatoes. So a nice early batch. All right, good luck. Have fun growing. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you.